So just like we've talked about other niches in cybersecurity, we've talked about, I think we've talked about GRC, talked about SOC analysis. So today we'll be talking about digital forensics. So now what is digital forensics? Now digital forensics is the science of collecting and analyzing digital evidence. Now the key objective is to identify, preserve, and present digital evidence to for investigations. Now, the importance used in cybercrime investigations and court cases, critical for recovering deleted and tampered data. So just like the normal world forensics, when it does now comes to digital devices, so you're just like performing investigations on anything digital device. That's what the short definition of digital forensics. So how you can perform digital investigations or trying to collect data from digital devices, right? Now, digital forensic investigation process. Now, just like the way SOC has its own process, GRC has its own process, digital forensics too has its own process. Now, the first phase is identification, that is, locate relevant evidence. So, the first phase in digital forensic is to actually know the particular evidence that you want to work on, the particular evidence that you actually want to investigate on. So, the next phase is now preservation. Now, ensure evidence integrity, that is, you must ensure that the evidence is not going to be tampered with. Then the next one is collection, that is, you gather evidence in forensically sound.
You gather evidence in forensically sound.
You gather evidence in a forensically sound. I'm hearing myself. Somebody's not muted. All right. So the next phase, which is third phase, collection. Now you gather evidence in a forensically sound manner. That is, you make sure that when you are gathering the evidence, you are doing that in a very sound manner. Then the next phase is analysis. That is, you examine data for clues and patterns. Then the last phase is presentation. Then you create your reports. If it has to do with you testifying in court, you testify if needed. Types of digital evidence. So we have computer forensics, those that has to do with hard drives, system logs, emails. And we have mobile forensics, which has to do with SMS, call logs, app data. We have network forensic, which has to do with packets captures and firewall logs. Then we have cloud forensics, which has to do with data stored in cloud environments. Example, Google Drive, then AWS cloud services also. Now, common digital forensic tools. So some popular tools used by digital forensics, we have Autopsy. So Autopsy is an open source digital forensic tool for file system analysis. So it's used for file system analysis. Then we have FTK, which is Forensic Toolkit. Now, comprehensive evidence analysis tool. So it's for evidence analysis. Then we have NCASE. Now, it is used for forensic investigations and data recovery. Same, we also have Disk Drill, which is used for data recovery on storage devices. Now, to use example, so we'll be doing that later. So one thing about as a cybersecurity personnel, you should understand that there is nothing like actually deleting something from your hard drive or from your memory card, because there are tools to actually get those deleted files back. So the best thing is, if you don't want something or you don't want something on your phone, just make sure it doesn't get to your device or it doesn't get on your phone, or make sure you destroy. It's either you destroy the hard disk into ashes, or you destroy the memory card into ashes. If not, the data you feel you deleted can actually still be recovered. So like I said, the challenges in digital forensics. So one of the challenges they faced has to do with encryption. So when a file is actually encrypted, for them to decrypt it, it actually takes time depending on the encryption algorithm or encryption method that was used to actually encrypt that file. So it could actually sometimes it could take months or even years for a file to be decrypted if it was strongly encrypted. Then the next one is anti-forensics. That is techniques used to hide or destroy evidence. So there are some techniques that people use in hiding evidence, which if as a forensic analyst, you don't know about those things, you would find it difficult actually finding or getting those evidence. So that's one of the challenges they also face. Then another one is data overload. Large volumes of data that must be analyzed quickly. Now, for you guys, for those those that were in the class for the Wireshark, you realize that just the little traffic that we were able to generate with a little browsing, you can see the amount of packets it's gathered. Now imagine Wireshark running for 24 hours and there are so many devices running on that network. So you could imagine how many packets it would gather and they have to go through those data, or let's say maybe file logs, maybe Windows logs from a large organization, and they need to go through those logs. That's what they mean by data overload. So at times the data gets too much and they have to start checking through. Now the legal and ethical considerations. So we have the data privacy laws. You all know the GDPR, the HIPAA law. So now compliance when handling sensitive data. So you should be able to know the privacy laws that has to do with you handling sensitive data, so it doesn't land you in trouble. The next one is chain of custody. Now,
the next one is chain of custody. Now,
yes, always unmuting. Don't worry, when I finish taking the theory, we would have time for questions before we go into the practical. All right, so chain of custody. Now, ensure evidence integrity from collection. That is, you must ensure evidence integrity because all the process in trying to get the evidence and everything has a particular chain of custody. Not everybody should have, or not everybody needs to have access to some certain files. The next one is documentation. Importance of maintaining detailed reports. Now, not only in 6. Now, in cybersecurity generally, one of the key ways to actually being a successful cybersecurity personnel is your skill in documentation. That is, you need to be able to document everything you are doing in a way that even if somebody that doesn't even know about what you are doing handles or comes across your reports, the person should be able to relate. You understand? So it is always very important knowing how to document your steps, knowing how to document the process you went through, everything you use, how you were able to use it. Just knowing how to document everything is actually always very, very important in cybersecurity because documentation is you end up doing when you do, because in cybersecurity, you need to be able to document. But most times it is what you document that they tend to follow and use for other. So forensic best practices. Now, investigation guidelines. Use proper tools and methods to avoid evidence contamination. Now, document each step for legal validity. You have tips in reporting. So clear, concise reports, detailing findings and conclusions. Like I said before, your reports have to be concise and also very detailed. So now, introduction to cryptography. I know some of you might have heard the word cryptography before. So now, cryptography is the science of secure information by transforming it into unreadable formats, only accessible to those who possess the correct key. It plays a vital role in cybersecurity, ensuring confidentiality, integrity, authentication, and non-repudiation of data. So cryptography has to do with you changing a plain text, something that people can easily read, into a ciphertext, that is something that cannot be readable by humans. That is just what it entails, because it is very important in cybersecurity, because we know the CIA triad, which is confidentiality, integrity, and also availability. So it is always very important. Then non-repudiation has to do with you not being able to deny a particular involvement in something. For instance, for your bank transfers now, you know that you cannot delete any transaction from your bank. That is an example of repudiation, so that you will not be able to deny the fact that that transaction actually took place. That's what they mean by non-repudiation. Then we have core objectives of cryptography. So we said confidentiality ensures that information is accessible to only those authorized. Then we have integrity. It guarantees that data has not been altered. Then authentication verifies the identity of users and systems. Then we have non-repudiation prevents denial of actions or communications. So we have types of cryptography. We have the symmetric key cryptography. Now this uses the same key for encryption and decryption. Now it is fast and efficient for large data volumes. Example of the algorithms used in symmetric, we have AES. AES means an advanced encryption system. Then we have DES. We have RC4. Now, what symmetric key cryptography means is that, for instance, if you encrypt a file, let's assume you encrypt a file and you put a password to the encrypted file. Now, that same password that you put to the encrypted file is also the same password I will use to decrypt that encrypted file. That is what they call symmetric key cryptography. That is the same key used in encrypting the file is also the same key that will be used in decrypting the file. Second one, we have asymmetric key cryptography. Now uses a pair of keys, public and private. Now public key encrypts while private key common in secure communications like the HTTPS. Now example of algorithms, we have the RSA and we have the ECC. So the best way to actually understand asymmetric cryptography, for instance, now let's assume you have a mailbox in your house or at your gate. Now, you know that the mailbox, you have a space where it is like accessible to the public, right? So you have a space where people can actually put their mails or their letters into, but it's only you that have the key that you can actually open to read all the mails inside that mailbox. So the public key is the access everybody has, the key you gave everybody to put their mail inside the mailbox, while the private key that can read everything inside the mailbox is your key that you use in opening the mailbox. So that is the way it happens over HTTPS also. Then the next type of cryptography, we have hash functions. Now this converts data into fixed size hash value. I think we've done hashing before, so you know how it looks like. Then it is a one-way function, cannot be reversed. Used for data integrity and password storage. Now, example of algorithms, we have the SHA-256 and we have the MD5. Encryption algorithms. So we have the symmetric encryption algorithm. First one, we have the DES. which is data encryption standard. Now, it is actually weak because it is a 56-bit key, which means with brute force attack, it can easily be decrypted. Then we have the 3DES, which is the triple data encryption standard. This one is moderate, and it applies DES 3 times. So it's just like applying the DES 3 times. Then we have the AES, which is the advanced encryption system standard. Now, this is very strong, supports 128, 192, and 256 bits. Now, the AES 256 is widely used in military grade and enterprise security so that it would ensure strong encryption. Then we have the CHA-20. Now, this is also very strong, fast, and secure, especially in mobile and low power environments. Now, the asymmetric encryption algorithms, we have the RSA, which is a reversed Shamir-Adleman, or what is this? So now this is usually used by HTTPS. This is the encryption algorithm that your HTTPS site uses. That is, it communicates, it uses, that is the encryption it uses over SSL and TLS. So SSL is secure shell layer, while TLS is transport security. So the encryption algorithm it uses is usually the RSA. Then we have the ACC. We also have the Diffie-Hellman. All right, now hash functions, we have MD5, which is message digest 5. Now this is very weak. It could also be easily broken. We have the SHA-1. SHA-1 too is weak. We have SHA-2. SHA-2 is actually a little bit strong. This is where you have the SHA-256 and SHA-512. Then we have the SHA-3, which is very strong. Now it's a newer standard based on the Keccak algorithm. Now designed to be resistant to future attacks. So applications of cryptography, secure communication. So the SSL and the TLS, which I said is for websites. So the SSL and TLS actually uses the RSA encryption algorithm. Then we have data protection. Now encrypting files, emails, and databases. We have authentication, that is digital signatures and certificates. So digital signatures are just like the signatures that are attached to your files. For instance, if you receive some mails from some organizations, you notice that at the end of the organization or the mail, you would see probably the organization's logo and the details of the person that is sending you the mail. That is an example of a digital signature to show that it is actually from this particular organization. Now we also have the blockchain currency, ensures transaction integrity and security. Now cryptographic tools, we have the OpenSSL, which we will be using today to actually perform some encryptions. Then we have the GPG, we have the Hashcat, and we have the Vera crypt. Now challenges in cryptography. Now key management, secure generation, distribution, and storage of keys. Now, one of the challenges in cryptography is after you've encrypted your file, you know, most times when you encrypt a file, all those 128 bits, 256 bits that we're actually talking about, they are not crammable strings. Unlike you just setting a password that you can cram, those bits are actually being generated. So most times when you generate the passwords or the keys to say, you have to safeguard them. So if you mistakenly safeguard or you forget a particular key, then bye-bye to your file, because you now have to start decrypting through trying to hack into it, which might actually be difficult depending on the kind of hash string or encryption algorithm that you made use of. So that is one of the challenge, which is the key management. Then we have the quantum computing threats. I don't know if any of you have heard the news about the quantum computing. Now, what quantum computing is actually all about is, in the real sense, that it is actually faster than our present day computing. You know, computers communicate in ones and zeros, which means 1 is on, 0 is off, right? But quantum computing can actually communicate in 1 and 0 at the same time, which means what it takes your system, your PC, anything that takes your PC, let's say, for those of you that know about video editing, when you want to render your videos. Now, what could take your system, let's say, 1 hour to do, it could actually take a quantum computer maybe 1 second to actually do that. So you understand the idea behind the quantum computing. So if you encrypt something, what could take your system months or even days to crack, quantum computing might not sped up to that to be able to crack that particular key. So then we have implementation flaws. Now, poor coding practices can compromise security. Now, most times, there are some people that don't actually want to make use of the encryption algorithm. Who is that now? Please, when you are coming, your mic. All right. So, implementation flaws. Now, poor coding practices can compromise security. Now, most times there are some organizations or set of people that actually don't want to make use of the ready-made encryption algorithm. So they want to build their own from the scratch. And trying to build their own sometimes could actually involve poor coding, which could compromise security. Then we have human error also, misuse or mishandling of cryptographic tools. So misusing of the cryptographic tools is also part of the challenges. Instead of pressing something else, you can mistakenly do something else. And by that, if you forget what you've done, it might be bye-bye to your file. So now steganography. I don't know if any of you have heard of the word steganography before. Now, you know, we talked about when we're talking about digital forensics just now, we talked about a situation whereby there are some methods people use in hiding files. People using hiding files that might not make the files visible. Now, one of those methods is actually steganography. Now, steganography is the act of and science of hiding information within other non-secret data in such a way that only the sender and intended recipients know of its existence. So steganography is just a way of you hiding things or hiding files or data from plain sight. For instance, now I could send an image to you or picture to you. Now, if I have embedded something inside that picture, only the person I sent it to will actually know that there's something embedded in this image. But someone that doesn't know anything about it will just see the image as just being a mere image. So now how it works is that you take a cover file, like an image, audio, or something you want to hide. You want to hide your embedded file under. Then you embed a secret file or message inside it. So the cover file looks and behaves normally, but it secretly carries hidden data. We would be doing something on that also. Now, common steganography tools. So we have StegHide, works with JPEG, BMP, and AU files. Then we have OpenStego. OpenStego is the GUI version of StegHide. So StegHide is like the CLI, which is the command line base, while the OpenStego is the GUI, which is the graphics user interface base. So we have ZSTeg, we have OutGuess. Now, difference from encryption. Now, encryption scrambles data so it's unreadable without key, while steganography hides the existence of the data itself. So these are some of the commands we'll be making use of. If I share your screen so that we can do that. We still have other things to do.
So this is the flash drive.
All right. So where is the file you have in it?
Easy worship.
That's put like a PDF file inside.
Okay, sir.
Like a PDF file inside or an image or something.
I've sent an invitation.
All right, put a PDF file to, or maybe a Word file, anyone.
Okay, sir. I've sent a PDF by that.
All right, so go to the flash now. So now delete everything that is here. Okay, deleted, right? So now
Yes,
go
sir.
and open that disk. Go and open a disk drill application. Okay. So give me our request for control now. So you give me access.
Okay, sir.
Have you seen it?
No, sir. I've not seen it, sir.
You just request suggestion.
Should that be on is it on Microsoft Team or where, sir?
Yeah, on Teams, it's supposed to show you.
There's nothing like that here.
Let me see it again. Let me send request again.
Okay, that's not, sir. I've done that, sir.
All right. So looking at this now, this is the disk drill interface. Now, one thing about the disk drill is that it's actually a paid tool also. So for you to be able to use the free aspect of it, it would actually limit you. So let's see if the free aspects can actually recover those files. Now we have his local disk here, and we have his USB drive. So
sorry,
what
please.
the file where we want to actually get our files. Oh, Bobby, you have something to say?
Yes, is it just when you open that app, this way to bring it directly, right? Or you've
Yeah,
done
this is
any
where to bring
settings
it.
on the app?
No, this is where to bring it to directly. So I'll double click. So now I have this local disk, and we have the And we have the. All right, so you know what? Just be doing it. I'll be telling you what to do so that it won't take our time. Still have other things to do.
All right, sir.
So we just minimize this one, then we go to your disk drive. So now double click on the USB drive because that's where we want to get files from. So now you see search for lost data. So you go to search for lost data. See
Yes,
it on
sir.
the right hand side, up hand side to the right.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So now it will actually start scanning. So let's give it some time to scan. I think what we deleted was images, right?
Yes, sir.
Can you see how many things it's able to it has recovered 5 pictures. That means you've actually deleted some pictures from there before.
Yes.
There are 10 now. Then documents about 51. Right?
Yes,
So I
sir.
don't know if it has gotten the file we want. Let's just give it some time. So let's try double click on that document. Let's see. Have you seen the documents you deleted there?
Trying to check.
Do you remember deleting all these documents from your flash?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Just this evening.
Okay.
This is the one we
The
deleted.
one that I deleted this night has not
Yeah.
shown yet, right?
It's actually
That's it, right? Okay.
on
So
government
right
contract.
click on it. Right click on it.
I've done that, sir.
Now you can always decide to preview. Now you can mark it on the right on that box.
I've done that, sir.
Let's go and stop the since we've got what we need, we don't need to go further. Go and pause you see pause up there. Yeah. So open the pictures. Let's see whether the pictures we got there.
Yes.
Yeah, is
This
there, right?
still counseling.
Interrupted. Okay. We didn't go back and play first.
Okay.
Go back to the CP. The flash is no longer showing.
Yes.
You just see that your flash do okay, so
They okay. I don't know what's wrong with the flash this evening.
So do you guys get the idea now? So now the only thing now is that when you want to recover those files, you cannot recover it to the same flash drive again. You have to recover it to an external device or an external, like now we are trying to recover something from the flash drives, recover it into your local disk. If you are trying to recover something from your local disk, you can recover it into maybe a flash drive or an external drive. You cannot recover it into the same device, into the same drive. I don't know why let me check on my side whether you can see. But there's no flash drive here, that's the thing. But you guys understand the concept. So we first want to do some encryption. So the first method we'll be using CyberChef, which is an online-based encryption method. CyberChef. So now the way CyberChef works is that here is where you put your inputs. If you want to drag in your file, you can actually bring your file and drag it into this place. Then what I'll be making use of, we'll go to encryption and encoding. So what I'll be making use of, I'll just be typing something. So I'll not be using a file. Let's just type something. Let me say so. All right. So what I want to do now, want to encrypt this. So I want to make use of the AES encrypt. I'll double click on this. So now, if you look at this now, it says the key, my key, which is the password I want to use. Now, I can decide to make it hexadecimal. That is, the way I want it to communicate with my computer, should it be hexadecimal, UTF-8, Latin 1, or base 64? So I would decide hexadecimal. Then this IV also has to do with your key. Then the inputs, how do you want the inputs to be? Is it raw, which is this? Then the output should be hexadecimal or also raw. So now, because we are making use of AES, and you know that, as you can see, now IV means initialization vector. Now it should be 16 bytes long. Now, if you can see, they said the following algorithms will be used based on the size of the key, that is 16 bytes, 24 bytes, 32 bytes. That means any key that you are generating, if it is less than 16 bytes, it will not accept it. And that is for AES. If probably we are using DES, it might not be like that. Let's look at DES. So you see, DES uses a key length of 24 bytes. So it doesn't have to be that strict. Use a key length of 8 bytes. But as for AES uses at least 16 bits. So now to generate the kind of key that we want, we'll go into our Kali. Now going to our Kali. So now to generate a 16 bytes key. Now don't forget that 8 actually make 8 bits actually make 1 byte. So if we are talking about 16 bytes, that is actually 128 bits, right? If we are talking about 32 bytes, that is 256 bits. So we want to generate a 16 bytes. So the command to do that, if you've downloaded OpenSSL, you just say OpenSSL -random. That's the meaning of rand. Then X. All right. So OpenSSL -random -hexadecimal. That is, I want it to be hexadecimal. So the bytes I want to generate. So let's generate a 16 bytes. Let's generate a 16 bytes. So you see, it has given us the string. I copy this. Now we also need to generate another. Okay, first let's let us go and input this first. So I input this. Then the IV also, we need to generate a 16 bytes, sorry. So let's also try to generate another one. So now this. I input this. Now you can now say bake. So this mode 2, it's okay with CBC. Now you see that it has generated an hexadecimal string for us. So the first thing we do is so that we will not forget our password, our key. So what we do is, this is our key, right? Let me copy this, put this somewhere. Your key. And our VI. Let's copy our VI. In this. All right, so that we can remember the file it is for. All right, now, so now let us go ahead and copy the string. So this is the string is generated for us now. And to see. So now this, what you are looking at here now is actually our file that has been encrypted. So if you want to send this file to someone, let us remove this. To remove this now, double click this place. Then let us paste our. So now we want to try to decrypt it. So I've pasted the string here. Or let us try some method of decryption and see whether we'll actually be able to decrypt it. So we can make use of decode. Decode file generator. So now decode actually tells you the kind of, you can come to cipher identifier. It tells you the kind of, if you paste your string here, it will help you analyze and tell you the kind of encoded algorithm that you used. As you can see, it's telling us that it's a larger percentage of hexadecimal data. So now let's see whether the hexadecimal data will be able to decrypt that particular, file. Why is it taking time to load? Time is fast spent, man. Okay, so let me paste the string here. Let me tell it to generate. Let me download file. What it decoded into, it's unable to decode our encrypted file, which could tell you that if, because of the way we actually encrypted it to be very strong, it will take time for it to be decrypted without having the actual key. Even if you use ChatGPT, it will not decrypt it. ChatGPT will even be asking you for the key. Now, if you try and test the key that you remember, if you remember any of the key. So that's how strong AES could actually be. It's not like it's undecryptable, but anyone that wants to decrypt it without having the key would actually be going for a hell drive. So now let's try to decrypt it. So we have pasted our string here now. So now we'll go for AES decrypt. You double click. So now this is the mode we use because everything has to be set the exact way you set it when it was encrypted. If you change anything here, let's try and change something. Okay, let's say for CBC we use, right? So let's say CFB. Let's change this one to UTF-8. So now let us paste our key. So now if you want to send this file to somebody now, if you send this particular string to the person, then you have to look for other methods or other means to send the key, because you cannot send the file and also send the key in the same message, because it doesn't any longer make sense. Because if an attacker that is eavesdropping on your network could actually capture this, and also you are sending the key and the virtualization in the same message, that means the attacker could actually be able to decrypt your. So let us copy this now. And the IBS. See. So now let us break. Now you discover that it is not giving us the exact output because we did not use the proper method. So let us change this back. This one we use hexadecimal. This one we use CBC. So you can see that it has decrypted the message for us. So that is how encryption and decryption works. Now, what we made use of is a symmetric encryption, a symmetric algorithm, because it is the same we also use to encrypt that we also use in decrypting. So let us try and do encryption on Kali also. Then we do our steganography. So to download OpenSSL, yeah, you just sudo apps install OpenSSL. So for the person asking, this is just sudo apps install OpenSSL, then you press Y. I need to download it for you. I need to download it for you. So let us check all the files we've been creating all this while. Which file can we use? Which file can we use? We've created a lot of files here. I think we were the ones who created this cipher base, right? And let's just create a new file. So let's say echo All right, so we've created a file now. So let us try to encrypt. Now, OpenSSL, let us check the algorithms under OpenSSL. Now, these are all the algorithms under OpenSSL that you could actually make use of. These are all the algorithms. As you can see, this is the AES, the 128 CBC that we made use of. So we'll just be making, let's just make use of this DS3. So the command for this to open SSL -ent as we are making use of DS3, right? So -DS3 then -E -salt -in, so plain text out. So now let me explain this command. So OpenSSL, that is the encryption software that we are using. DNC means we are using an encryption algorithm under OpenSSL. DS3 is the encryption algorithm that we decided to use. -E means to encrypt. Why -salt? -salt is just to add an extra layer of security to your encryption so that it will not be easy for it to be brute forced. Then in means the file you want to encrypt, which is this plain text.txt. Out means after encrypting the file, what do you want it to save as? So we want it to save as this. Then iter means iteration, that is, it should iterate the number of times you want. So now you can decide to use any number, but in my case, I'm using 1000. So this is also helping it to add more layer of security to your encryption to ensure that it doesn't get easily brute forced. So if I say enter now, so it's telling me, asking for a password. Now, because I'm using DS3, DS3 still takes, because I'm using DS3, DS3 still takes less bytes as a password. So I could just generate a simple password. So add password. Telling me the password is not strong enough. Okay, let us generate a string for it. Let's generate it. All right, so let's use this. Now let me go and paste this somewhere so it doesn't get deleted. Before I will clear now, because once it goes and I add it to it, that's the end. So let us try it again. All right, so let's use that string instead. All right, so it accepted that one. So verify. So now let us check. You see that it has given us a cipher text. Okay, this cipher text. So now let us cut the cipher text. So now I discover that it has encrypted it for us, which means it is no longer in readable format. So now if this is sent to you, it will be encrypted. If I send it to you on WhatsApp or anywhere, if you open it, this is what you see, unless you can now come and decrypt it using the same method I used in encrypting. So for you to decrypt, you just use the same command. What will not change? Everything must be the same thing. The only thing that will now change is E. You change it to D, which is decrypt. Then your in now will change to the text that you want to decrypt. While your out now will be the new file you want it to save as. Let's say plain new.txt. So now we say enter. It's asking for the password. So now let's go and copy this password. Paste. Enter. So now let us list. Now where is the plain new? You can see the plain new here. So let us cut it. So can you see now that it has decrypted the file for us? So that is that on encryption. So let us do the last thing we have before questions can start coming in. So the last thing we have now is steganography. Now let me clear this. Now to download what we use for our steganography is sudo apt install steg_id. Somebody is not muted though. Somebody is not muted. Bukumi. Sudo apt install. All right, so that has been installed. So now let me I want to look for an image. I want to hide something under. So let me see which image is here. Okay, this is an image here. This is an image here. Let me see whether this image can be used. So, all right, so let's see whether we can embed something inside this image. So you can see the image now. Let us see if we can embed something inside this image. So let us say, so now the command to embed inside, we use steg_id embed, then -cf is -ef, then the file we want to embed. So let's embed, let's say, what did we create just now? We created plain text new, right? So let's embed plain text. Bukumi, I muted you and you still keep unmuting yourself. Right. So now, what this command means is that steg_id embed. Now, we want to embed something into this now. So CF means the cover file. So which file you want to make use of as your cover file, as your as a file you actually want to embed something in. So then EF means embed file. So this is the file we want to embed into this image. That is, we want to hide this, our plain text txt, into this image. So I'll say enter now. So we enter a passphrase. So let us enter a password. So let me say 1, 2, 3, 4. Enter 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now it has been embedded. So the image still remains the image. Let me just show the image. And if you are looking at this image on a normal day, will you be able to realize that anything is inside this image that somebody sent to you? No. So assuming I send you this kind of image now, it is only me and you that would know that, okay, something is embedded. I kept a secret message inside the image for you. Now, for you to know if that particular image has an embedded file using steghide, so you just say steghide info, then the name of the file. So you can see so you enter the passphrase, that is the password you created. So you can see it's telling you that a file has been compressed into it. You see that? So now if this image was sent to you now and something was embedded inside, all you just need to do for you to be able to decrypt it is that you use steghide extract dash steghide file, which is SF. What is the steghide file? This is steghide file. Then you can just extract this, or we say we want to extract it into, want to change the file name. So let's say steg.txt. Right? Then the passphrase that the person used, you put that. So now those data has been, so now let us list, and you discover that you see that it has been extracted into this. So let us cut now. So can you see this is the file we embedded inside that image? It could be embedded inside an audio. You could embed it inside the music. You just send the music to the person. Then it's left for the person to now check. So can you see now something like this now? Do you think somebody that doesn't have idea about this would be able to realize that something has been embedded inside? So, they said that's one of the challenges in digital forensics.